everyone, this is Jen, and this presentation is about creating professional documents and general business communication. In the past few modules, we focused quite a bit on formatting and using computers to help us work efficiently and effectively. This is some tips about content, one aspect that the computer can't always help you with.
Even though we have some really sophisticated computers today, we still have not been able to replicate real human understanding and communication entirely. In other words, computers still do not know what you want to say. Most modern jobs require professional business communication, and that means that we just can't count on only spell check to fix the content of our documents. In our department, we talk a lot about business communication and even have several classes focused on the topic. In this class, we'll just scratch the surface and talk about some basics. So the computer doesn't know what you want to say. Be careful and use your own brain. Just like we have formal and casual ways that we dress, we have formal and casual ways that we write. Although every business is different, generally business communication is more formal. Different kinds of communication may have different standards. For example, business letters and reports are going to be more formal than business emails. However, even emails at work may become a permanent record of communication. So it's especially important to communicate more formally if you're not sure what the culture of a business is. In our area, we tend to be a bit more casual, but other areas tend to be much more formal. While it may be just fine to write a friend without proper punctuation or spelling and say, hey, you rocked that presentation, I'm out. See ya, Joe. It would come across as unprofessional to many business connections. So use complete sentences, proper capitalization and punctuation, and a greeting line like, Dear Miss Sanchez, I was delighted with your presentation. And in closing, you want to use what's called a complimentary close, such as sincerely, best regards, yours truly, and include your full name so that your communication is easily identified. Business writing usually involves what is called the active voice rather than the passive voice. For those of you familiar with active versus passive phrasing in English grammar, this is a bit different, although grammatically, passive sentences also tend to be in the passive voice. The passive voice is indirect and dances around the subject and often takes more words to say the same thing. For example, we are starting to move forward at the beginning of the week. When is that? And what are you moving forward with exactly? Another example. I'm thinking we will be choosing the blue pattern. Well, are you choosing it? Aren't you? Should we go ahead and buy it? Or $400 is required to participate in the Garden for Health program and checks are accepted. That phrasing is wordy and lacks action. Better phrasing would be, the project starts at 8 a.m. on Monday. That's clear, straightforward. You know exactly when it's starting and what is starting. Please use the blue pattern. That's direct, right to the point. We know what to do. Make your $400 check payable to the Garden for Health program. Very clear and filled with action. Business writing should be clear with directions and be respectful. Some disrespectful messages, such as, the job better be done in time or we'll find someone else to do it, or your letters were full of mistakes, or the way you were dressed at the meeting was messy, could be changed to clear directions rather than degrading employees or making personal attacks. Some examples are, the completion date is Thursday, September 22nd. If work is not completed, the job will be reassigned. This is clear, and you know exactly when you have to get your job done by. Or, it is very important to proofread your letters. Or, professional attire is required at all meetings. Proofreading is of great importance. Although spell check and autocorrect can be helpful, our devices do not know what we want our documents or communication to say. In this strange cartoon, Autocorrect would most likely assume that they wanted the sign to say stop ahead, but the proofreader made sure to place the spaces and commas correctly as there is an actual head in the road. If you are writing a business document, getting someone you trust to proofread it, just to ensure that you didn't miss anything, is a good practice. Only you know what is meant to be said in your writing, so consider the confusion or insult that could be caused by a misplaced period, comma, or space. What if you meant to write, "We dislike foolish people. Like you, we find them boring," but accidentally write, "We dislike foolish people. Like you. We find them boring." Oops.
So, remember some basics of business writing. Use a more formal way of writing and communicating. Active phrasing that gets straight to the point, clear rather than disrespectful tone and phrasing. And remember to proofread for correct content, grammar, punctuation, and phrasing. See you next time.